Ready to have a meeting? Happy Tuesday. How's everybody doing? Everybody good? How's your Labor Day weekend? Everybody have a great weekend? God, you guys are asleep. It is. It's like a Labor Day hangover. Everybody's just like, so, all right. So a couple things to talk about that we're going to talk about today. We got Mike Wiles with Coast to Coast Lending. He'll come in. He'll give us an update on mortgages and what's going on. I just wanted to reiterate the top agents for the month. Top agents, 2 listings or 3 listings, 2 to 3 listings will get you to top for the month of September. Who here has 1 listing for the month of September already going on the market? Good. Who here has 2 already on the market? Good. Raise your hand if you got 2 listings that are going on. We got 1 in the room. Anybody have 3 listings going on in the month of September? Okay, so we got 2 is what we got to beat right now. You got 3 more weeks to get more listings on, but we're looking to do at least 3 for the month of September to get top listing agent. 5 sales, 5 open sides was what was the beat? Who here has at least 1 open side for September? Good. 2, 3. Good. So we got some open sides. What about closings? Closings for the month of September. Kalani Heyman, I know you've got them lined up. She's set for a 6-figure month. Also, let's give a hint to John Lauder. Dude, awesome month of August, brother. 6-figure month. 6 figures in 1 month. 1 month, 6 figures. Gross commission. Awesome job, sir. Congrats. $2 million sales too. Over $2 million and a $1 million sale. So $2 million properties I sold. So excellent job, sir. Let's talk. There you go. So let's talk about some best practices. So right now, if you have listings going on the market, we do have listings that are on the market that need to be marketed, that need to be sold, that need open houses, that need just listed, that need just sold. If you have a listing going on the market, I know before it didn't seem to make sense to do just listeds for a listing because it was going to sell within the first week to 10 days. By the time the postcards got to the house, the home was already under contract. I know it didn't seem to make sense, but it wasn't about telling them that it was on the market and having them buy the listing. It was about getting exposure in the market. You all seen the mailers, 8x8 mailings, 8 weeks in a row, 1 mailing every single week just to get exposure. A fake real estate agent became the most recognized real estate agent in a market by doing that. So doing your just listed campaigns is really about trying to get more exposure in that market. Doing open houses, doing them the right way, not just putting signs up, putting a sign in the yard and putting it on MLS and saying, "Hey, who wants to buy my house? Come in." Getting out, knocking on doors, 5, 5, 10 around there, entire neighborhood, however you want to do it, but get out and knock on doors. It's about getting exposure. Your job is to get more business off of each piece of business that you have. If you have a listing, your job should be to get at least 1 sale or listing off of that listing. If you have a buyer, your job should be to get 1 listing or sale off of that buyer. That's why over the life of a business, a past client is worth over $130,000 each past client. When you do these things correctly, if you don't do these things correctly, you're not maximizing these opportunities. So just getting back to basics and doing things the right way. We have listings that need to sell. If you have a listing that needs to sell, please send me an email today so I can send out an email today or tomorrow for available open houses, homes that need open houses held on them. I know we have tons of agents that would like to hold open houses, that would be more than willing to take a property and get out and knock on the doors, invite people out there, put the signs out, let everybody know, post some videos about it, get some traction on these listings. Doesn't matter what the price is. Your job is to show your seller that you're doing work for them. And if you're not going to do it, or let somebody else in the office do it. So send me an email. Let me know if you have properties that you would like to have for open houses for this weekend. We'll send that out so everybody has an opportunity. Also, who here is using video text? Sometimes. Okay. Who is using video text? Anybody using it and having good results? If you're not using video text, you should really start, especially for people that you don't know, especially for new leads coming in. If you have a new lead coming in, you should be sending them a video text with something as simple as our Zillow Flex leads. When they come in, we are asked to answer the call to send them a text message as soon as you hang up confirming. So I'm going to send you a message. It's going to come from my direct number. That way you have it programmed in your phone, because you never know where the lead called from. You never know how they got connected with you. They may have called the front desk patched it through. They may not have your number, but you have theirs because it patched through to you. So my job is, I'm going to text you. I'm going to get back to you. I'll send you a text message. It's going to be coming from my direct number. It'll have my name and information in there, and also a confirmation of the appointment that we set. I'm going to follow up with that, and you'll have another text message from me just introducing myself, so you can put a face with the name. But just a simple generic video, if you can shoot something simple, 30 seconds max. This is Chris Reed with Century 21. I appreciate you reaching out to me. I look forward to working with you on your home search. You're going to get another email from me, if you wouldn't mind taking a look at that, programming my number in. This is coming directly from my cell phone, direct contact me, blah, blah, blah. Just really something simple, right? We're also telling them about the survey. So if you have surveys going out for your buyers or sellers, just shoot a quick video text. You're going to get a survey from me, or you just got a survey in your email from me. It just went out today. If you wouldn't mind going through that and giving me all 100s or 5 stars in there, it'd really mean a lot to my business. Hope you guys are enjoying your home. Have a great day. Something really simple. It's going to set you apart. And plus, it's easier to reject the font than it is to reject the face. If they see a video there, how many of you have passed over a video when you see, especially if it's a face you recognize? How many of you have passed over a video when it's on your text and didn't watch it ever? Anybody ever do that? Anybody ever get a see a video and just come, I'm not going to watch it. We all watch it because you see a familiar face and you're just curious. You want to watch it. You want to see it. So we need to get back to some more of the basics. That's what the Next Level University is going to be the week of the 19th. The 19th through the 23rd or 24th is going to be that week. I believe we do have it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from 8:30 to 12:30. More than likely, we're going to also have some agent panels there. We're going to do some mock interviews with some agents that are doing the things inside of the lanes that you might want to be doing as far as agent archetypes. So we'd like to do some more interviews one-on-one, get some ideas from people actually doing the things that you're doing. So far, 3 closings for the month of September. Congrats, Greg. Awesome job. So caravans as well. Caravan is a great opportunity to get more exposure for your property. Pair it with a broker's open, get a caravan on a Tuesday. If you have a new listing, it should go on there. We had a $1.6 million property go up for sale in Ruskin, and we never even put it on caravan. And the seller was upset and unhappy with the way that things were handled. We could have easily got a ton of traction through that, got a lot of feedback for him, and shown him one more thing that we could have done for him. So put your properties on caravan, especially even if they've been on the market. If no one's really seen it and we haven't done it, let's get it reinvigorated, get some energy going into it, make some phone calls on it, get the caravan going, get some feedback on it. Jimmy, you wanted to mention something? You had some Moxie info?
Yeah. So I just wanted to touch base on what I talked about in the earlier meeting. Sorry, I just had to get this shirt on the screen, honestly. That's the only real reason. Okay, so Friday, hopefully by a show of hands, who's still using Zap to put people in and online? Raise your hand if you're using Zap still. I hope nobody raises their hand for the people that are in this room on there, because on Friday you're not going to be able to add anybody else to it. Okay, they can still be set up and doing their thing, but you cannot add somebody new into Zap starting on Friday. And then obviously Zap at the end of the year is going to be completely gone. So you should be working on getting those people in, and you should be using Moxie Engage for everything. Okay. So if you're using Zap, I'm sorry, call me, please, I guess, so we can chat before Friday if you're still using it. Okay. The other thing also is we are turning on leads engagement this week. So that I know I talked about it earlier, but you have to update these leads in Moxie Engage. So if you get a broker lead that comes through, let's say Century 21, and you get it, you're going to get an email now that's going to say, hey, you have 24 hours to give an update. And you're going to continue getting these emails until basically it's closed. So not every day, but at first it's going to be in 24 hours, and it's going to be a week, then it's going to be a week, and then it's going to turn to every 2 weeks that you're going to have some type of update. So we will resend the video I sent Friday and the guide that will walk you through Moxie Engage of what you need, what constitutes as a update, and will actually feed through the system. So you can continue to stay in rotation for the leads. So it's very, very important, especially with what Mike was talking about, how they're going to try to work through some of these leads and give more warm handoffs. You want to make sure that you are up to bat, that you can go up to bat. Because if not, you're going to get basically red balled and you won't be able to until you update these leads. Now, it's not going to affect prior leads for the past 6 months, so you don't have to worry about that. But when you get the email saying we're switching it over, like any lead that you get after that, you need to make sure that you're updating in Moxie. So I know I'm going to get questions when that happens, but please just, you got to start using Moxie Engage if you want to keep up to date and continue to stay in the rotation. That's it.
I'm gonna grab Mike. Ask away. What you got? Rent Solutions, property management. Just Rent Solutions is who we typically partner with for property management. They will, you're guaranteed to get your listing back if they, like if the buyer, if the person wants to sell after you give it to them to get a tenant in it, you're guaranteed to get it back. They do list properties for sale, but only ones that they've procured. If you give them an opportunity, they'll always refer it back to you. They'll manage, they'll handle it very well. They do a great job. So just start there. That's probably the best place to start. Unfortunately, there's a lot of property management companies that are just smaller, fly by night, like 1 or 2 people that start something up and you don't know how reputable they are. Rent Solutions is very reputable. You shouldn't have any issues with them. Good. Mike Wiles, what's going on, my man?
I think I'm live right now.
Yes, sir.
All right, good. People can hear me.
Yep.
Last time Joyce said no one could hear me. So I'll try to keep it right in front of my face today.
Well, this is a new mic, so it should be better. You
so we're
shouldn't
good. All right, good.
just
Good.
blow their ears out.
All right, sounds good. I hope everybody had a good weekend. It was nice for everyone. I think that we've seen things start to pick up. I don't know if for each and every person here, but it has generally in the market and over the entire state with the people that I deal with, seen improvement overall. Couple things I want to talk to you that came up. I just made some notes on it. This is something we can do that is useful and a lot of people don't. When you have clients that are conventional, even well qualified, sometimes you'll get refers on automated underwriting. I mean, I know what our automated underwriting is. Basically, it's where we put it in the system automatically gives us approve eligible or not. We get what we call refer eligibles. Usually most lenders cannot do the loan if you don't get it approved eligible in the system. There is a way to do them. And I'm doing one currently right now with a client, larger client. You get these on people that have had like a bankruptcy in the past, but it's past the point of where it should have already been cleared or it's allowed to be used, or they've had a short sale, or they've had something that's happened in the past that technically they meet the guideline, but the automated underwriting system doesn't like it. And you'll have it. If any of you, long you've been doing this, hey, the system just won't approve them. We can still do them.
You'll hear some lenders say DU or LP, like that's a program. Desktop underwriter was a loan prospector or loan processor or something.
Yep.
They use a program whenever they're getting somebody to see if they can approve them. That they're gathering their info, put it in there. And most people, if it doesn't automatically say, good to go, give me your stuff, let's do a loan, it says refer, they can't handle that. They can't do it because it's basically going to mean you got to do some manual work in there, got to start working through it. Mike, just like Mike said, if your buyer has money and okay credit, he'll make it work. If they've got great credit and a little bit, they'll make it work. He can find a way to make it work.
Right. There's a lot of options to get that done. And that's kind of, I've always pushed the envelope. I've worked a lot of places. So I worked at Merrill for years. And when I worked there, everybody would turn down the harder loans because at Merrill, we got a lot of easy loans. I mean, be honest with people, millions of dollars in the bank, it was easy to do their loan. I like doing the harder ones on purpose to learn a way of doing things. So I apply that here. In those situations, when you're getting borrowers that for some reason, I had a call this morning from a team down in Sarasota. Well, our in-house lender can't do it. I know, I got it, but we'll be able to do it. So let's just get moving.
But at the same point, Mike's not trying to make it work. If he can make it work, he will make it work. If he can't, he'll tell you. So you don't have to worry about just because some buyers are a little uneasy in being in a situation like that. Well, they already told me, no, I don't want this guy. And some lenders drag you on and then at the last minute say, oh, sorry, we couldn't do it. if Mike can't do it, he'll tell you. So don't be scared if he's telling you this information. If he can get it done, he's going to get it done.
Right. I mean, I'm not, if they are not someone, it sounds horrible to say, if they're not someone that probably should get a loan, that's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about people that have some sort of reason, their income is good, they can afford the house, they can do those things, and we have to go through a couple hoops to get them done. Those are loans we want. You know, if you got someone that has no money, let's not do that one. I don't want to drag that through. Right. No, I just don't want to make something. I don't want to leave the person in worse shape than when they started. You know, that doesn't help anybody. Okay. So that's something we can do. Rates are still higher. They went up a little bit. They're ranging around anywhere from, I think I've seen the average was as low as 5.2 a couple weeks ago. I think last time I had a meeting, and then it's back up again. And now it's coming back. It's going to range in there. Okay. And I tell borrowers, look, here's the deal. There are arms, there are cheaper ways to get down a little less, but a lot of these people that aren't putting down 20, 30% on those scenarios where they're putting 5 or 10, in 6 months, this stuff will start to iron itself out. My prediction has always been the end of the year. It could be as late as March, but it will iron it out. As our market is still continuing to grow 11% a year. It has. We had a crazy 2-year where it jumped 30, 40%, whatever the scenario is that you're talking about. But the overall, it looks like this, but still going up. And so those people will reap a benefit at 6 months to a year. Guess what? They could refi, get rid of their PMI, go to the lower rate, and they're probably going to want to do cash out. That's just how people are. So those things will still work out. Even if they take a slightly higher rate for the short term, as their situation gets better next year, we'll do a refi and move on. Okay. And then they can lose the PMI, which will save them money anyways.
What do you think about locking a rate right now? Are you telling most of your borrowers to just wait, just wait it out? There's no reason to, or what are you telling them?
I don't necessarily lock it. I mean, a lot of the files we were talking about are all 30-day locks, so it doesn't really matter. But if I had a file that was longer out, let's say a builder or something like that, I would wait. I would just wait it out, because it isn't worth the additional money to pay when it's going to be somewhere in that range. We are kind of where that peak is. There's not much more to do, and I would wait.
Would you say that the cost to lock a rate, if you're a little further out, might even be offset by the cost that you could buy the rate down anyway?
Yeah.
You might as well just wait and see.
Right. We've already accounted for that. So, I mean, that's what the additional lock is. It's not that there's some, witchcraft or, sorcerer at the end of this thing, but they kind of already know what's going to happen. They've been pretty accurate so far in these planning of these things. So they know that kind of the rates have been up. They're going to stay up, and the feds aren't really saying anything crazy. The rates are going to continue to climb. If they said it so many times, why there's so much fluctuation? It's kind of like a lot of drama for no reason. We already know that they're doing this. It just gives people something to talk about. It's like sports or, anything else people debate. You already know the answer. One quick thing, agents had been asking me, and I always say, if you have scenarios that aren't mine, feel free to call me. I had an agent call me last week, asked about a scenario where a lender, hard money lending. And I said, okay, those are difficult. Okay. And here's the scenario, and here's what their website says, and here's what their guidelines say. But they came back and totally asked for something different. Can they do that? I said, yes. They can do whatever they want. It's their money. I explained to her, I said, look, it's kind of like if you were lending someone $40,000 and at some point you realize that, hey, look, they hadn't paid someone or they hadn't done something, you could ask them more questions because it's your money. Okay.
Well, also, even when you have certain Fannie Mae guidelines, they have guidelines for like Fannie Mae, but a lender can still ask for something else if they want. Like, right, this is what's required, but I know that's required, or this is what you need to have, but we also want to have this as well, because there's other scenarios inside of that. They can ask for pretty much anything they want.
And their buyer didn't want to provide this additional item. And I said, look, what's the reason? Obviously it was something, negative, obviously, but I said, you might as well give it to them at this point, because it's either give it to them or don't get the loan, or give it to them and get the loan. I mean, there is no downside to go ahead and giving them what they require. I can look at alternatives for you, but if you're talking about true hard money lending, it was a crazy loan that I hadn't really heard people doing. And I said, no one else is going to do it. So you might as well do what is required. But I want you to know guidelines. I will fight all the guidelines that we can. If we have a guideline that allows for it, we'll go push through. Okay. But if you're talking about extreme lending, where you're talking the 8, 9, 10% private money, they could be as lenient or as strict as they want. I've done hard money loans where we call the guy and old man. It was I know the situation. The old man got in his truck, drove to the property and said, yeah, I'll lend. That was the entire loan. That was it. There was no other to it. 30% down, 10% rate. That was the underwriting. A driving his pickup truck. But that's how they work. You don't know. That's why I try not to go that far down the line, because there are a lot of programs that allow. The rental income is huge right now. And there's, there's not really a big benefit in someone saying it's a second home versus an investment, because really a second home is your investment. You might as well, if they're close on funds, or they're not sure they can do it, or they might rent it, might as well just go ahead and bite the bullet and do it as an investment and take the rental income and use it. Because on a second home, you can't use on conventional finance, you can't use the income you would have received to qualify for that house. So if you do plan to rent it, sometimes you might as well rent it and take the investment hit, because the rate differences aren't big enough to make a difference for you. But the qualifications of using the income
Makes it easier.
could be huge.
Yeah.
And even that's why might as well do it that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
And the difference in rate really doesn't matter. I mean, if you're talking about making money off it, if it was profitable at 5.5, it'll be profitable at 6% interest. You're talking about $30 to $100 difference in payment. Okay. Those are those two things that I had come up in the last couple of weeks. There was something else. I forget what it is now, but, I want you to, everything that we're doing now is picking up. I have seen more flexibility. I was talking to a realtor in Sarasota this morning where they're like, oh yeah, 6 months ago, we was cash only and no, that's all we would take, or we wouldn't even look at FHA. And I'm like, yeah, but things are coming back to normal. They're going to have to use, take the FHA loan, look at it. He's like, well, I don't want the appraisal to stick to the property. I go, it only sticks to it if it's an FHA loan. So it doesn't stick to it if it's a conventional loan, even a VA or a USDA. It only sticks, FHA sticks to FHA loans. So it was always going to come in low if that was the scenario. But as far as an inspection, I said, I wish I could wipe every single realtor's mind when it comes to perceived FHA problems. It'd be a lot easier to get these loans done, because a lot of what they think of we can't do this and can't do this. You gotta have an inspection for this. You don't have to do any of those things. It just has to be livable home. And you have the same rules for conventional, USDA, VA. If you're selling a home to a primary borrower, they have to be able to move into it.
Has to be safe.
Has to be safe and livable. And that
Shit has to be working most of the time. We were selling a home one time. They put I don't know why they did it, but they put a little piece of paper on the dishwasher and said, please don't run not working. When the appraiser came in, it was subject to the dishwasher being working when on the appraisal, because it wasn't working, and it could potentially, if somebody turned it on, flood out the entire place if that piece of paper went away. And all of a sudden the lender is put to a detriment because they have this $200,000, $300,000 loan they gave out on a property that just flooded because nobody paid attention. It's got to be safe.
It's simple things most of the time that flag appraisals on, and they will flag on all of them. Oh, we turned off the breaker. That's the number one reason I'm always like, they said, well, why can't the appraiser just turn on the breaker? I go, he is not going to do that. He does not know why you turned off the breaker. He doesn't know why you did that. He doesn't want to turn the breaker on and blow the house up. He doesn't know.
Yep.
Those are the simple things that actually cause people to, I cannot tell you how many times that has been the number one thing people go back for. The breaker wasn't on. Power wasn't to the property.
How much is a reinspection for an appraiser?
$150 for them to drive back out there. And like, well, that's crazy. Well, you have to drive back to your house and do, that is, and it isn't like we're getting money for it. We don't care. We hate it. But it is important that you make sure the lights are on, if things are working. And if you have something that's not working, like an oven, or, you're not going to get this on the high end properties. I get that. But on the lower end properties, you got refrigerators that don't work. wash machines that don't work or something like that, where they're going to have to turn them on or something. Just get rid of it. It's better it's not there than it is there and doesn't work. He's not a technician. He's not going to go be out there and checking well, it's only got 72 cooling. It should be at 71 cooling. They don't care about that. But if it's working, it's okay to be there. If it's not working, get rid of it. If you're listing a home that someone's like, say, not occupied or something like that, or well, there's no refrigerator. Great. Better than one that smells like, whatever and doesn't work,
Is one of the requirements on FHA, is there still like a cracked windows and torn screens? Is that still a safety issue that's mentioned?
The torn screen, I actually had that on a conventional loan.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny, it's on my house because we had an outdoor window and my kid punched through it one day.
Yeah.
So it could flag anywhere.
I know it's just I thought in the FHA
random.
I thought it was mentioned in the FHA requirements under condition. I thought it was mentioned there. Do you know of that?
I don't know that I really haven't, and I've done a lot of loans on all
Mhm.
kinds of crazy houses. It really comes down to the inspector that comes out there. It does.
But like you said, if you have a ripped screen, take it
All
out.
right, take it out.
Go put it in the garage. If it's not there, it's fine. But if it's
Yeah.
there and it's ripped, it could be an issue.
I honestly, the screen repair kit at Home Depot, I think is like $8.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the things are just fix it.
Mhm.
Just fix it, move on. Or if it gets flagged, you get another screen, you fix it. That's not the end of the world stuff, but that's something you would look at over the property. What I always tell people, number one thing that actually is a problem is wood rot stuff is going to be wood rot. It doesn't matter what loan you get. If there's obvious wood rot, it's a problem. Oh, I heard that's bad on VA. Well, yeah, it's bad on VA. It's bad on every loan because it's wood rot. It could be termite, or it could just be, termite's one problem, but then you got a water damage. Water damage is something is way worse in a lot of scenarios because usually the termites are only like a small section. I mean, there are extremes, but most of the time that's wood rot, flooding, water damage. Those are things that hurt you. Kind of going off on a tangent on those things, but yeah, but I mean, I really haven't had. I think because we're at the property where we're getting more of the borrowers that are at the top of their budget and they're getting the houses that other people weren't willing to pay cash for. So we're getting a little more of those conditionings. Your borrowers that are pushing their budgets or pushing what they can afford, you're running into more of those.
And right now, if you're doing your job, Mike should be doing more of those because you should be going back to every single borrower that you have who didn't get a property in the last 6 months, 1 year and 6 months, and letting them know that now's a good opportunity that they could get back into the market. There was a stat that came out. This is one lender was talking, said, hey, of the 20 files that I did this past week, 15 of them all had some type of closing cost concession on them.
Yep.
So if you have a borrower that's not in the market right now, but was before, if they were putting offers in on homes before, they should be putting offers in now. They shouldn't be waiting anymore. Shouldn't be waiting for prices to drop or the rates. They should be writing offers now with closing cost concessions being asked for closing costs or for rate buy downs or for whatever the case is. They should be out active in this market. They can compete right now. Now they have the ability to compete. That's why we should be calling every single one of them and letting them know, hey, just wanted to touch base with you. The market has shifted more in favor of the buyer recently, and we're seeing a lot more buyers getting offers accepted with closing cost concessions below asking price. I'm not saying you're going to get a steal of a deal. I'm just telling you we can compete now and we can get you into a home if you're interested.
That made me think of what I was going to say.
You're welcome.
So, for instance, the U.S. and I brought this up with our group up front, our team up front. I said there is a area, Apollo Beach is still USDA eligible. Okay. There are homes in the A section that are 250, 270,000. You can get that for no money down, put closing cost concession, and your buyer could buy the house for a couple $1,000s. Yeah, I said that is realistic. Poor Logan, I'm kicking him to the curb, but that's realistic. There's no reason not to buy that house. There's zero reason not to have those type scenarios go forward. Because
He'll buy a house 3 houses down and still be coming to yours.
that's okay. But I mean, those scenarios are what works. You have buyers that are in that range. They can get in a decent, not that he is going to need a school district anytime soon, but those areas are things that do work. Okay. So go back to those borrowers, goes back to those people and say, look, here's your options, but I think we're in a perfect time frame. And all the people that are saying, oh, I'm gonna wait till the market goes down. It's not, unless you're going to rural Alabama or, I don't know where, Ohio, any of these places, it's not going to happen here. That's already starting to go away. Yeah, we saw a price come down on listings. I saw some in Jacksonville, Jacks Beach, that area, Tampa, $100,000 down on the asking price. Well, their asking price went from 1.2 to 1.7. Now they're at 1.6 or 1.5. That's not, it probably should always been there. But this area is still going. There's still so much demand. It's insane. So all those people that want to hold and wait, they're just going to miss out. I can't tell you how many borrowers I talked to a year ago or 2 years ago, and now they're nowhere near to be able to get where they could have been. 3 years ago when they could have got Temple Terrace for 150,000 or 200, now it's 400. That option's gone. So use what you have, use us, to help you and figure it out from there. All right. I think that's it. Covered a lot. Oh yeah. So scroll right here. So on this map, when you try to use it, don't type in an address.
Yeah, because I just tried that 4 times and it said
You will not
we can't find your address. I'm like, I live there. I know it's an
Only way to
address.
type in the address, if you do want to do it, is type in the address, a comma, and the zip code. If not, you have to space it right and do everything else. But the best way to use this map is to zoom it like you would on Google Maps. And look at this area right here. All of that is eligible. Okay. Now you can scroll over here. Now this is Sun City is not. The reason is because they incorporated it, and the incorporation it meets the threshold of like whatever. I think it's like 50,000 residents or something. But that incorporation meets it probably because all those apartments and condos that are right here. Normally it wouldn't. But all of this is eligible. All of that is eligible. And if you zoom out a little more. So look at this right here. All of this, oops,
Sorry, gotta share.
that whole area over here, if you're doing the south of here, this is what's that, Lakewood Ranch?
Yeah, like
All this Lakewood Ranch is all eligible USDA still. It may not last very much longer, but if you're doing the south section, all that's eligible. All of this is eligible. All this stuff over that's parish, all those homes over there are eligible. If you scroll up, but if you look at here, at all our Tampa people, so this area just out, I think that's what part of Lithia and further out. I'm still working on Mama City.
yeah, this is a Lithia area.
And you scroll up one more time, there's a section, Thonatasasa, I probably say I'm murdering it probably, but this area out here is eligible. This little pocket's eligible. So if anybody's familiar with this area, I think it's Odessa. I think it's right. It's so here. These are the people, like a lot of working class people out there. They can get some property and they can live out there. I mean,
What's the income requirement? Because they cap out at an income, right?
they did. They just raised that. So I think it's 95,000 for the family. It was lower. I mean, it was lower like 85, but 95 is where it's at now for most areas. And if they have more then that's for a family of 4 or less. So if they have 5 people in the house, you add $7,000 to $10,000 for each person. I've had one where they had 10 people in the house. Crazy. It was like 120 or 130. But in these situations where we're at right now, these areas are eligible. You can use it and they close. I mean, they build almost all of Shell Point in USDA. That person, the builder did out there. He did a lot of it. It was either USDA or investments. And so as far as qualifications on it, you're looking at, they do have to have a low threshold. It's usually 29 to 41 on 29% front end. Just use this math. If they make $3,000 a month, they don't want a payment more than $1,000, but their other debt can add up to more. So like, for instance, they have a scenario where, it's $300 car payment would be another 10%. So if they make, $3,000 goes to the house, $300 go to their car, that's their total debt corporation. Okay. The workaround for that is, sometimes it's, instead of using that money for down payment, they could save the money. So say USDA, the FHA payment was, down payment required was 3.5% or conventional 5%. If they meet all the other threshold, we may pay off that other debt so they get into the other loan. We've done that. The good thing about USDA, if the property goes higher in value, like I had a lady, I'm closing, I think in 2 weeks. The appraisal came in $3,000 over the sales price. We can roll all that up into it. So we took the extra money she needed for closing, increased the loan amount, even though the sales price remained the same, to include that. Now I always tell them, ask for it in the appraisal, in the sales contract. We'll get lucky if it goes over. And they had $6,000 in concessions, but then we added another 2,000 or 3,000 to it that she was able to roll in. Okay.
So right now, you shouldn't have too many issues with appraisals because the properties that are priced way too high over what they should be, they're not really getting the offers. They're going to have to come down. Once they get into that good range with where the comps are, you're probably going to be able to negotiate and probably be able to go over a little bit what the list price is, or go over a little bit on the value and ask for those closing cost concession. Make sure that you can get the seller really what they're asking for. The comps could say 300. It could be listed for 300, but no one's really buying it at 300 just yet because the appreciation is slowed down a tiny bit. So the value may be 295 gets the offer. You can offer 300 because the comps are at 300 and get the 5,000 in closing costs or more than that. And the seller will still be made out as if he was selling it for 295 or in that range. It's a win-win for everybody right now. That's why you need to let your buyers know what the options are for them.
It's best just to ask. I mean, put it out there, even if you go over. I mean, the good thing is the comps are still there. You can pull comps for the last 90 days when they're doing the appraisal. That's where they start.
Yep.
When they go back 6 months, a year, I'm like, what are you doing? But I've seen that. But 90 days is the last 90 days are still good because those are the people that made offers in, 6 months ago.
That's how we got that Lennar appraisal that came back at 416, yet they were listing and selling the same home for between 378, 398, 402, 395. There were sold comps that got it to 416, plenty of them. There's easy to get the comps there because there were sold comps that got there, but they knew buyers weren't paying for that right now. So they reduced the price. They knew that those prices were a little bit crazy. They went higher than what the appreciation normally was. They went much higher than that. It probably should only be between 390 and 410, but they pushed it even much higher.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are your options. So like I said, that's a great option for USDA. We'll go back to it some. You'll see some FHA, VA, conventional, all that. And then all the other stuff, all the other loans are very, the jumbo options are there. It's there. If they have the income, they can get a house. I mean, if they're making the big money, they're trying to buy a big house and they have at least, I would say you really want jumbo scores to be 680 or above. There are options for less. They will pay a lot more, on and on and on, but there's no reason not to do it. Okay. Any questions? I know we covered a lot, big ranging subjects, but those are the three things that I saw over the last month. Guidelines on the hard money loans can be anywhere. Manual underwrites, conventional, manual underwrites, FHA. We do it all. The only thing you can't do a manual underwrite is cash out, which makes sense. But besides that, I can do manual underwrites. And then lastly, USDA is picking up. There's no reason not to do it if it's here. It won't be here for much longer, but it will be here probably for another year or two in Apollo Beach area and all of that area, all that map. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Thanks. Yeah, we're doing HELOCs now. I'm sorry, I should have covered that. We do HELOCs and it's pretty simple. I mean, the rates, depending on how qualified they are. Prime last week was 5 something. So usually it's going to be anywhere from 0.5 to 2 points over prime. So if prime is 5.5, if you're super qualified, you'll get 6, less than qualified, 6.5 up to 7. And the HELOCs are typically going to be on the second, but there are standalone HELOCs where it's just usually you would see that where someone owns a house 100%. They just want a line of credit. There are minimum draws, minimum loans. Typically for us, I would say it's probably going to be around 50. But the HELOC can be up as much as $1 million in that scenario. They're going to have a minimum draw, minimum requirement, but they're only paying interest on the money they keep out, not on the whole loan. That's how HELOCs work. So if it's 100,000 line and you got 50 grand out, you're paying interest on the 50 grand, not the 100. I think it's obvious, but I want to say that. Cool. Any other questions about that kind of stuff? All right.
All right. Awesome, guys. We'll wrap it up. Happy Tuesday. Have an awesome day.